Hi guys, today we're in episode 5 and it's about the inner cry. Have you ever smiled while silently falling apart? Have you ever told people you were fine when you were anything but fine? Have you ever carried so much pain for so long that you stopped talking about it altogether? Maybe you became the strong one. Maybe you became the helper. Maybe you became the caretaker. Maybe you became so good at surviving that nobody realized you were actually struggling. Today's episode is for the people who learn how to hide their pain. The people who cry in private, the people who carry wounds nobody sees, the people whose inner child is still crying out to be heard. Or how about the ones like me where our bodies learned at such a young age to numb ourselves to protect us that if we feel like crying, it's actually called crying internally. So all of our emotions, we're absolutely feeling them, especially as an empath, I'm feeling them very deeply, but I'm not able to express them on the outside. And like being an empath, I can do it for other people. I can do it for TV shows. I can do it for commercials. I can do it for other people. I am not able to do it for myself yet. Working on it. So welcome back to Unbound and Rewritten with Laura. Today's episode is one that sits deeply in my heart because behind every fighter is a wound. Behind every protector is a pain. Behind every strong person is a story. For years, I became very good at hiding my hurt. I learned how to survive. I learned how to keep going. Unfortunately, in so many different instances, but especially when you have children, you don't have time if it's just you. Like I didn't have family. I didn't have a partner. I didn't have babysitters. I didn't have not a single soul to help me with anything. So if I couldn't figure it out, it was not going to get figured out. So I was constantly in the state of survival every second of every day. Like there just wasn't a time to sit still enough to actually feel whatever I was feeling to go through it. I mean, the last time that I remember being able to cry for myself and my situation was when I was a teenager back at home. But I remember at 15, looking back now, like that all stopped then because that's when I had to pay the bills and, figure everything out on my own. So there was no time for that because I always had to make sure that I was surviving and, making sure I wasn't going to be homeless and fed and all that stuff, but especially when you have children. But I think also, so there's two sides of the story. So for me, I never wanted my kids to see me upset because I didn't want to stress them out. But then you have some people say, well, they should see that. So that way they know what it's like to be healthy and normal, like if you're upset to cry. But I didn't know that then. I didn't know any of that because I was never around another healthy person. So everything I ever learned or everything that I ever knew, I had to figure out on my own. So I learned how to survive. I learned how to keep going. I learned how to carry more than any child should have to carry. But underneath all of that strength was something else. A little girl who was hurting. A little girl who felt alone. A little girl who wanted someone to notice. Someone to protect her. Someone to tell her she mattered. When children experience trauma, they don't stop needing love. They don't stop needing safety. They don't stop needing comfort. Many of us learn very quickly that our needs aren't going to be met. We stop asking, we stop crying, we stop reaching out, not because the need disappears, because hope becomes too painful. The cry doesn't go away, it simply moves inward. And that's where many of us live for years, carrying an inner cry nobody else can hear. One of the greatest survival strategies I developed was strength. If I was strong enough, maybe I wouldn't get hurt. If I was independent enough, maybe I wouldn't need anyone. If I took care of everyone else, maybe someone would finally take care of me. But strength became armor. And armor may protect us, but also it prevents us from being fully seen. For years, people saw my strength. Very few people saw my pain. And so that's like another pattern. When you're the strong one, people just think, like, oh, she can handle it. She's fine, And that's kind of our fault, because if we're not being vulnerable and expressing ourselves to the right people, to the healthy people that actually do care, if you have that around you, which is something I didn't, I think that would make all the difference in healing and growing and trusting again. The inner cry doesn't always sound like sadness. Sometimes it sounds like, I'm exhausted. I don't know who I am anymore. Why do I always feel alone? Why do I keep attracting unhealthy relationships? Why do I keep giving everything away? Why do I feel unseen? Why do I feel like nobody truly knows me? Often the inner cry is simply the wounded parts of ourselves asking to be acknowledged, asking to be loved, and asking to be heard. One of the most powerful moments in my healing journey was realizing that I wasn't broken. I was wounded. There's a difference. Broken implies something is wrong with you. Wounded means something happened to you. Let me say that again. Broken implies something is wrong with you. Wounded means something happened to you. Big difference. And wounds can heal. When I began doing inner child work, I started meeting parts of myself I had abandoned long ago. The scared little girl, the lonely little girl, the angry little girl. The little girl who kept waiting for someone to save her. And for the first time, I realized something. The person she had been waiting for was actually me. Healing isn't pretending the pain never happened. Healing is finally turning toward it, listening to it, honoring it, giving yourself the compassion you never received, the love you deserved, the safety you deserved, the understanding you deserved. For many of us, healing begins when we stop running from our pain and start sitting beside it. If you're listening today and you feel like you're carrying an inner cry nobody understands, I want you to know this. I see you. Your pain matters. Your story matters. Your wounds matter. And the parts of you that learn to survive deserve compassion, not judgment. You don't have to earn healing. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to keep carrying everything alone. For years, I thought healing meant becoming stronger. Now I know healing means becoming softer with ourselves. People like us live in what's called masculine energy. And we need to unlearn that and learn to learn how to be in the feminine space. It means finally listening to the parts of us we've spent a long lifetime of silencing. It means answering the inner cry with love and reminding ourselves that we are worthy of the very things we spent our life searching for. Thank you for joining me for episode 5 of Unbound and Rewritten with Laura. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who may need this message today. And remember, you were never meant to stay bound, and I'll see you in the next episode.